Long before the talismans were created, their powers belonged to the ancestors of the noble animals, specifically the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac. At some point in history, these powers were obtained by the demon Shendu. Combining all 12 powers within himself, Shendu became powerful enough to conquer China and rule over its people. But his reign came to an end when his subjects rebelled alongside the sacred warrior Lo Pei. Using his knowledge and skills, Lo Pei cast a chi spell on Shendu, turning the dragon into an immobile stone statue. This spell extracted all 12 of his animal powers, transforming them into talismans that were then scattered across the globe. Shendu swore revenge to destroy the descendants of everyone involved in his downfall and half the world along with them. The talismans are a set of 12 magical amulets, each depicting an animal and possessing a specific magical ability. Reuniting all 12 talismans with Shendu's stone statue was the key to his release. Because of this, Lo Pei chose to scatter the talismans to the 4 corners of the globe to minimize the chances of them ever being assembled in one place. Many years later, in the modern day, the first talisman is discovered by archaeologist Jackie Chan. Captain Black of a secret organization known as Section 13 recruits Jackie to track down the remaining talismans before Shendu and his minions can get their hands on them and bring their terrible plans to life. Shendu, in turn, employs the Dark Hand Syndicate and the Shadowcon, kicking off the global hunt for the talismans.
Now, let's move on to the talismans themselves. The Rooster Talisman is the first amulet to appear in the series. Jackie discovered this artifact in Bavaria, embedded right in the center of an ancient shield. At the time of its discovery, Jackie had no idea of its true value. Upon bringing it to Uncle's antique shop, they are surprised to find that the shield attracts the attention of criminals sent by Shendu. Shortly after, Jackie is contacted by his old friend, Captain Black, from Section 13, who offers Jackie a role in finding the other 11 talismans. The magical properties of the first talisman are only revealed in the second episode, when Jackie's niece Jade accidentally swallows the talisman while eating soup. It turns out the wielder of this talisman gains the powers of levitation and telekinesis. This grants the user the ability to fly and lift objects several times their own weight using the power of thought. The stronger the user's willpower and innate strength, the more weight they can hold in the air. Ultimately, after the battle for the artifact, Jackie Chan secures the talisman. The second talisman in the series is the Ox Talisman. This artifact was first discovered by El Toro Fuerte inside a Mayan pyramid in Mexico. Jackie later finds it mounted on El Toro's wrestling mask. The Ox Talisman grants the user superhuman strength, rivaling Shendu's own strength without the talismans. Trying to defeat El Toro in the ring to win his mask, Jackie suffers a defeat. Soon after, as El Toro and Jackie are peacefully chatting after the match, they are attacked by the Shadowcon, resulting in the villains capturing both the talisman and Chan himself. Jade convinces El Toro to help her save Jackie and retrieve the talisman. A long battle ensues on an airplane and then on the ground. Using the talisman, Jade manages to knock out Toru. By taking out Toru, Jade secures the talisman, and Shendu suffers another defeat. The third talisman is the Snake Talisman, found by Jackie and Jade in the caves of South America. However, due to a sequence of events, the talisman is stolen by another archaeologist and donated to a museum in New York, from which our heroes must retrieve it. They attempt to steal it back at night, but the situation is complicated when another thief named Viper breaks into the museum to steal a diamond. After successfully pulling off the heist, Jackie and Jade cross paths with Viper. After a brief fight, they leave the museum, accidentally mixing up their loot. It is revealed that the Snake Talisman grants the user invisibility, covering both their clothes and the talisman itself. Furthermore, it can turn inanimate objects invisible as well. Viper happily starts using the talisman, which naturally puts Shendu and the Shadowcon on their trail. These turns of events do not sit well with Jackie. Stepping into an uneven fight for the talisman, Jackie helps Viper defeat the enemies, saving the talisman and bringing it to Section 13. Oh, and the talisman also managed to make the Statue of Liberty invisible. On the Galapagos Islands, archaeologists discovered the Rabbit Talisman embedded in the shell of an ancient tortoise. The tortoise is transferred to a zoo, where it is intercepted by Jackie and the Dark Hand, who learned about it from the news. Capturing the tortoise, Toru and the Dark Hand extract the talisman and sell the tortoise to a local rich man to be made into soup. While Jackie chases after the talisman, Jade heads off to save the tortoise. Toru is the first to unlock the talisman's magical abilities. The user of the rabbit talisman gains super speed, allowing them and anyone they are holding to travel vast distances in seconds, just like the Flash. However, thanks to Jackie's trickery, Toru doesn't keep the talisman for long. It soon passes to Jackie, who in turn saves the tortoise and Jade, and the talisman is secured in Section 13.
It is worth noting that when the rabbit talisman is used in conjunction with the rooster talisman, it can grant the user supersonic flight. The talisman can also be used to accelerate the speed of objects. The next talisman, the sheep, was found on a freight train. After a lot of head scratching about what it does, Uncle and Jackie dive into studying literature, while Jade sneaks off with a talisman and quickly discovers that it grants the power of astral projection, specifically the ability to leave one's body and visit the dreams of others. In combat, it is actually one of the most useless talismans, as it leaves the user's physical body completely defenseless until the soul re-enters it. While Jade is flying around in the astral plane, the talisman is stolen and handed over to Shendu. As it is revealed later, a soul doesn't necessarily have to be the user's own to possess a body. That is why Shendu easily possesses Jade. In short, despite Jackie's best efforts, the talisman ends up with Shendu. The dragon talisman grants its owner the power of throwing fireballs. Jackie retrieves this talisman from a volcano in Hawaii, but literally a minute later, it is stolen by the Dark Hand and delivered to their boss, Valmont. Valmont, however, is offended by Shendu's arrogance, keeps the talisman for himself, and starts using it to destroy the city and other locations. But not for long, Shendu eventually manages to retrieve his talisman using the Shadokan. The next talisman, the rat, which Jackie bought at an auction, it was hidden inside an inconspicuous lamp. After successfully escaping from the Dark Hand and the Shadokan, Jackie breaks his leg in Jade's messy room, and the talisman ends up inside of one of Jade's toys. The core power of this talisman is the ability to animate inanimate objects. Naturally, the rat talisman is the one Shendu needs most of all to finally break free from his statue form and become living flesh again. For now, however, the talisman is stuck inside a gnome cop action figure, which has come to life and wanders off to do its own thing. The Shadokan and a wheelchair-bound Jackie hunt down the toy. Section 13 manages to recover the talisman, but Jackie ends up breaking his other leg as well. The wielder of the horse talisman gains the power of healing and regeneration. The talisman instantly cures any injury or illness afflicting the user. After securing the talisman, Jackie falls into a trap set by the Dark Hand, who poison him and give him an ultimatum. He is slowly turning to stone, and he must either help the Dark Hand or remain a statue. If he helps, he gets the antidote. Of course, choosing the right side, Jackie refuses and continues turning to stone. Jade, realizing the true nature of the talisman, sneezes on it, triggering its magic on Jackie and turning him back into a human. The talisman can also repair damaged inanimate objects, such as a broken statue or a sinking cruise ship. Ultimately, the talisman stays with Section 13, leaving Shendu empty-handed. The next talisman, the monkey, is found off the coast of Micronesia. As usual, right on cue, another battle breaks out, during which Jade discovers the talisman's hidden power. The user of this item can turn anyone or anything, including themselves, into any existing animal simply by shouting the animal's name and pointing the talisman at the target. During this episode, people are turned into all sorts of things: rats, yaks, stingrays, and kangaroos. Jade even manages to become a monkey and integrate into a real monkey family. In the end, the talisman remains with Jackie and Jade. Sometime later in Bavaria, Jackie recovers the dog talisman hidden inside a windmill. Fighting off Toru and gaining the upper hand, Chan returns to New York and gives the talisman to Uncle for study, who discovers its magical properties. The user of the dog talisman gains the power of immortality and spiritual rejuvenation, making them completely invulnerable and highly resistant to lethal attacks. However, the dog talisman does not prevent the user from feeling pain or getting knocked out. Some might confuse it with the power of the horse talisman, but a difference is that the dog talisman merely preserves the user's life in the present moment. It does not regenerate the body or heal pre-existing injuries. Uncle happily puts it to use and tags along with Jackie to Bavaria to find the pig talisman. The talisman is hidden in the hat of a pig statue in a chocolate factory. Following a massive Bavarian brawl for the pig talisman involving the two muscle men, the talisman falls into Hakfu's hands. He happily discovers that it grants the ability to shoot heat beams from his eyes, as well as the power of seeing the invisible and seeing in the dark. But no matter how strong Hakfu is, he fails just like Toru and loses the talisman to Section 13.
The 12th and final talisman is the Tiger Talisman. Found baked into a pie, it possesses the power of spiritual balance. The tiger acts as a sort of glue, unifying the conflicting powers of all the other talismans into a cohesive whole, making it possible for a single entity to seamlessly wield more than one talisman power at a time. However, when split in half, the talisman divides the user into yin and yang, specifically into their good and evil halves. Jackie falls victim to this and is split into two versions of himself. Driven by greed, the evil Jackie strikes a deal with Valmont and helps steal the talismans for Shendu. By the end of the season, all of Section 13's efforts are in vain and all 12 talismans are claimed by Shendu. He immediately regains his original demon form and heads to his palace in Hong Kong to quickly put his plans into action. Toru, realizing he's on the wrong side, defects to Chan's side and helps Section 13 find the necessary information about Shendu. The characters arrive in Hong Kong and using a potion capable of penetrating Shendu's skin, Jackie tries to extract a talisman from him to prevent the destruction of the world. After pulling out a bunch of talismans and even turning the dragon into a rabbit, Jade and Jackie finally succeed in turning Shendu back into stone, and they use the dragon talisman to destroy the demon completely. Shendu is seemingly destroyed and the talismans appear to be no longer needed. However, the logic of the hero's next move is highly questionable, as Section 13 leaves all the talismans right there at the battle site in the ruins of the palace. Naturally, the Dark Hand swoops in and takes all the talismans to continue their criminal activities. Apparently, no one cares, and the Dark Hand starts causing massive havoc with their new magic powers. This information finally reaches Section 13, where everyone is in pure shock over how this could have happened. Well, their shock doesn't last long as Jade puts together a team, recruiting El Toro and Viper. The team reclaimed the talismans from Valmont and his cronies, but the thugs no longer care because Valmont has been possessed by Shendu, who was banished to the Netherworld and needs a host to open portals and release his demon brethren back into the world. Jackie and Captain Black secure the talismans in Section 13 once again and set off to foil Shendu's new plans. This cycle continues until Captain Black's superiors insist on removing the talismans from the facility due to their perceived uselessness. While saying goodbye to the talismans, Jade accidentally absorbs all 12 powers, gaining superpowers. At the same time, a new antagonist, Wizard Daolin Wong, begins hunting for the talismans. Ultimately, he is defeated and all the powers return to the stones, which are locked up in Section 13 once more. Seeking to rebuild the Dark Hand, Valmont orders his men to break into Section 13 and steal the talismans. By coincidence, Daolin Wong also decides to infiltrate Section 13 on the exact same night with the intention of claiming the talismans for himself. In a critical moment, Jackie sees no other way out and destroys the talismans, reducing them to dust, but even that is not the end of the magic. Uncle reveals that while the physical vessels have been destroyed, the powers themselves cannot be unmade. Therefore, the magic has returned to the 12 noble animals of the Chinese zodiac across the globe. The only exception is the dragon power, as dragons are supposedly extinct. But no worries, Daolin Wong resurrects Shendu so that the power of the dragon talisman finds its way into him as the only living representative of his species. This kicks off a new branch of Jackie's adventures, a global hunt for the animals that now hold the artifact powers. If they really wanted to, they could have dragged the show out forever, but no, the animals are found and placed under lock and key. Shendu tricks Wong, infiltrates Section 13, and absorbs all the remaining powers from the noble animals. Soon after, Uncle arrives and uses a spell to turn Shendu back into a statue, literally reforming the physical talismans in the process. When will it all end, you might ask? In the final season, Shendu's son Drago arrives on Earth with the intention of destroying absolutely everything. At this point, the Dark Hand have also sided with Jackie, helping Uncle dig up and resurrect Shendu yet again. Shendu is none too pleased with Drago's intentions and turns against his son. Jade, trying to choose the lesser evil, helps Shendu by giving him all the talismans so he can defeat Drago. The battle rages on, and with the help of a spell, Uncle and Toru open a portal to the Netherworld to suck in Drago and his henchmen. Falling into the void, Drago panics mechanically grabs onto Shendu, dragging him down too, and the portal closes forever. Finally, all the talismans are sealed in the netherworld with no way to return to Earth. Thanks for watching. That's all for now. Leave a like and subscribe.